The Philadelphia Eagles are slowly but surely making every other team look like a fool yet again. Howie Roseman's grandmaster plan is all coming together, but he's not done yet, as today we have a familiar face for some people in this building that actually wants to be here. We'll talk about what he said and whether the Eagles should make this signing or go younger in the draft. We'll get into the pros and cons and a whole bunch more, but welcome in to A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Do me a favor, like this video, go down below, and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate all the people staying tapped in with our Eagles coverage. And we started off with the news from a couple days ago. I'll tell you, man, BG announcing retirement from the NFL after 15 seasons is insane. And I loved every single thing he said in that press conference about it's not where you start, it's about where you finish. And just going through the trials and tribulations, man, he never gave up. And he made a Pro Bowl. He won 2 Super Bowls. He was with this team his entire career. And he is responsible for the best play in franchise history that helped seal the first Super Bowl. This guy's forever a legend. He is on the Eagles' Mount Rushmore. No debate. I'm sorry. He is one of the greatest players. And you can't really tell this organization's history without BG. So very happy for him. We will surely miss him. But Howie Roseman has already drafted his proteges, and those guys were balling out in the Super Bowl in one of the best defensive performances ever. So shout out to Howie, shout out to BG, and the young guys as well. Here are some Eagles legends. I mean, talk about Fletch, talk about Lane. Lane, you're up next, bro. And how about Jason Kelce? Can't forget him either. The fact that those guys played together as long as they did and helped contribute to winning, it just, again, shows not only the development, but the kind of guys they bring into this building. I mean, BG, Lane, Jason Kelce, Fletch, they're all just class acts, you know, and I'm going to miss all these guys. It'll be weird not seeing BG, but it's a little bit different than the Kelce thing, in my opinion. Like, for me, I'm kind of at ease with it at the same time. You know, seeing BG go out, he had the 2 Lombardis at his presser, knowing that he went out as a champ and was able to return in that final game and help win. I mean, it's amazing. It really is. What a story. And I just wanted to shout out Cooper DeJean, who put this on Twitter. He says, grateful to have a guy like BG in the locker room for my first year. Great leader in person. And I think every other person in that building would say the same thing about BG. What a class act. And like I said, he'll be around, but we are going to miss him in this locker room for sure. So congrats on retirement and being on top of the world as a champion. But ladies and gentlemen, Howie has more work to do, and he's not done yet. The fact is that he is out here fooling everybody, okay? This kind of hit me. I didn't realize it until I saw the words. The Eagles have all 4 of these guys locked in until 2029. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ, and Devontae. And they have so many guys locked up. Even Lane Johnson, who we were just talking about, they go and extend him another year. The Eagles are really, really creative, and they're really smart at getting ahead of it. And, you know, midway through an extension, they'll sign guys to an extra couple of years. They'll manipulate some of the money on the back end. And, you know, even like the Cincinnati Bengals, who just went out and they signed their receivers, had to pay a premium. Howie's just so far ahead of every other team and every other organization. You could tell he just understands every intricacy, and he's really balling out right now. I mean, Howie Roseman is on a crazy run. And if he can really continue to perform what he is trying to do right now, I mean, this Eagles team is not only going to be good for the next year or two, they might be good until 2029, at least for the next 4 years. I mean, this guy is on a generational run, and he made some interesting moves so far this offseason. But, you know, we talked about the Azeez Ojulari signing, being able to bring him in at a great discount, and he's just patching up the holes. But there still remains one major hole, in my opinion, and that is the safety position. Now, I want to hear from Eagle Nation down in the comments. What do you think about Sidney Brown? Do you think he can be the starter if the Eagles don't go safety in the first round of the draft, or they don't go high in the draft for safety? Do you think Sidney Brown is good enough to start? Can he be the guy? Sidney Brown, 3rd round pick, 2023, played some games in his rookie year. I think he started 6 games. He was actually playing pretty well until he had the major injury in the last game of the season. Came back last year. Good special teamers, really wasn't a role for him because they brought CJ back, but hard hitter, showed a lot of athleticism, right? A guy who's not afraid to get up in your grill, almost like a CJ in a way, but not exactly. Do you think he can be the starter? I still think I need to see him prove it more, But I don't think Howie Roseman is done. And I don't think that they're going into training camp thinking that Sydney is going to be the guy. Maybe he'll compete. Maybe he'll be there, in the top 2 or 3. But I think they're going to do something else. And the first option is the NFL draft, okay? This guy's name has been popping up everywhere. I'm starting to do my extensive draft coverage, so we'll start making draft videos and stuff. But Malachi Starks has been the one name that I keep seeing everywhere, a safety out of Georgia. And boy, could you imagine Howie adding another Bulldawg? I mean, they just brought in Ojulari, obviously Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Nakobe, Keely Ringo, Louis Sine. Could you imagine if they bring in another safety from Georgia? I feel like Howie has it figured out, Draft from the best schools, draft from Georgia, bring these guys in. They all have chemistry. And Malachi Starks, I've seen in a lot of mock drafts so far going in the 20s, mid to late 20s. So maybe he goes higher, maybe he goes lower. But if Howie Roseman has a good read on this guy, I honestly think they'll draft him. I think they'll bring him in, depending on what happens with the tight end situation. Maybe they go up front in the trenches like they usually do. But should they go in the draft? Should they go younger? Or should they go with another option? All right. And this clip has been out here for some time, but it's starting to resurface again. A lot of people are chattering about this. And honestly, I feel like it's going to happen. That's not me reporting. That's not inside sources. It just makes so much sense. It feels like a Howie Roseman move. Okay. Here is Justin Simmons, 4-time second team All-Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler, very good safety for a long time, formerly of the Denver Broncos, and he played with the Falcons this past year. Listen to what Justin Simmons says about potentially coming to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Reunite with Vic, and then also the defensive backs coach, Christian Parker. He's over there. I've worked with him the last maybe 4 years with Denver. And he was a huge piece of, obviously there's a lot of rotating, coaches, defensive coordinators. And so he was a huge piece, the stability year in and year out, the terminology, the practices, like there's a lot of familiarity with him. So, there's a lot of good things about Philly. Obviously, I think their offense is clearly one of the most talented in the league. That offensive line is unbelievable. But what the defense did and having.
So I want to go to a quote here that gives a little more context from this podcast he was on, the Talking Ball podcast. And he says, quote, "There's a lot of good things about Philly. Their offense is clearly one of the most talented in the league. The offensive line is unbelievable. But what the defense did this past season to go win that Super Bowl is crazy. You can tell the leadership there, top down, is by far one of the best in the league. To have an opportunity to play in Philly, especially reuniting with Vic and CP, is high on the list." So Justin Simmons comes out openly and says, I want to be back in Philadelphia. All right. And if we go look at Justin Simmons and his stats, this guy's been productive for a very long time. Former 3rd-round pick, 2016, played a lot with the Denver Broncos. And he talks about Vic Fangio, who was the head coach in Denver from 2019 to 2021. Didn't have a lot of success, but in that last year, Christian Parker, who is now the Eagles DB's coach, was in the same role for Denver. So he has a lot of comfortability, a lot of experience with the terminology and, just the scheme and all that stuff. And right now, believe it or not, the Eagles might actually have safety on the top of their priority list, right? Because they go out and they trade CJ Gardner-Johnson. So what do the Eagles want? Well, obviously they want to get younger, but they want to bring a guy in who's not going to cost as much and can still be productive, right? Even a guy who could maybe mentor a 1st or 2nd round draft pick. You look at Justin Simmons. This guy had 4 consecutive seasons of 4+ INTs. He was the co-interception leader in 22 with actually CJ Gardner-Johnson before he got injured that year. And even this last year in Atlanta, he had 7 pass breakups, 2 INTs, 62 tackles. He still had a pretty good year. He wasn't great, but he was very good. The Falcons were a little bit shaky. And, he still had a decent year. And he was signed very late, 1 year, $7 million. You're telling me how we can't bring in Justin Simmons for $5 million? Of course he can. And he wants to be here. There is mutual interest. You bring in Justin Simmons. You let him be the guy to go out there and compete for the starting safety position. Even if he doesn't make that, there's not really a lot of risk in this move. It would be a short-term deal. And the Falcons don't seem intent on re-signing him. So honestly, I think it makes so much sense. You heard the guy himself. And the Eagles need a safety. They need some help. They tried to sign Justin Reed. That didn't happen. And there was a tweet here today from Kendall Beck. He says, I'm willing to bet the Eagles told Justin Simmons to hang tight until after the draft. Simmons has publicly said he wants to reunite with Vic. Signing Simmons after the draft would not affect Philly's comp pick formula. So, I mean, it just seems like a match made in heaven. And, Reed Blankenship is coming up on a contract next year. We don't know about Sidney Brown. Justin Simmons is the guy. They need to go out, make it happen, get that experience in here, and bring a guy in who obviously wants to be back with Vic Fangio and Christian Parker. Now, lastly, we have one of the Eagles' newest players, Adoree Jackson. He says that he really liked Quinyon Mitchell's tape last year. Quote, I haven't seen a rookie play that well. It's been a while since that happened. Hey, we're right there with you, man. I agree. I don't think anybody's seen a rookie play like Quinyon or even Cooper DeJean in a long, long time. Those boys were special, and they helped win this Lombardi. So shout out to Adoree Jackson. He'll be competing as well. Oh, and also the Packers are whining again. They have officially submitted a rule change to prohibit the tush push, the brotherly shove, even though they tried it, even though they were the ones trying it and it didn't work. Now they're sitting back and they're crying and wiping their tears away. So shout out to the Packers. I don't think it's going to get banned. Even if it does, the Eagles are still going to be good enough to beat you. So just wanted to throw that out there. But give me your thoughts on Justin Simmons and all this other stuff down below. How do you feel about him? Should they bring him to Philly? Appreciate everybody for tapping in. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next one.